Welcome back to my video guys. Today I'll be ranking every Akuma from worst to best. First off, it's going to Chia Akuma. None of its moves are extendable. The mode moves are pretty mid and stun reliant too. The damage output on every single one of its move is super trashy too. The counter is super obvious to notice and very predictable. The mode is nothing great, all of its move requires some type of stun to land. I wouldn't recommend touching this bloodline at all. Second off, it's going to be Shiver Akuma. The moves aren't great at all in 1v1, the entire bloodline is based on team fights. The stun move is somewhat decent because it place locks. The counter isn't really worth using, it only has M1 priority, so it can't make burst combos, which are current meta. The mode is pretty straightforward: run, use first move, spam Q spec, then run with C spec. The Q spec is really good because it guard breaks and place lock stuns enemies. Overall, this is a fun bloodline to joke around and troll in public lobbies. Coming in at third spot, it's going to be normal Akuma. All of its moves are basic and worse version of some other bloodlines. The auto dodge is the longest one in game as of now. The third move inverts your opponent's controls if it lands. Everything about Akuma mode is bad except its super busted C spec that can deal up to 100,000 damage. At fourth place, it's going to be Ray on Akuma. This Akuma got heavily nerfed and it's not worth using at the moment. The counter can stack up to 100,000 damage if used against certain moves. The second move of Ray, on which is Chidori, got super nerfed and it only deals 46,000 damage now. The third move of Ray on Akuma is a guard break ranged move that also deals 46,000 damage. The iframes on it got nerfed so it can be punished. The Q spec of mode is really trashy. Barely deals 30,000 damage and doesn't stun. The C spec is decent because it mode steals and chi seals. At 5th spot it's going to be Riser Akuma. I would rank it at first, but I don't want it to be Riser bias. The genjutsu is similar to Bankai but doesn't place lock and teleports behind enemies. The auto dodge got its iframes removed, but you can use moves while on it now, which makes it super usable. The third move of Riser is really bad and you can get punished easily, so I wouldn't recommend using it. The mode is similar to Bankai except it doesn't have a Q spec. At 6th place it's going to be Bankai Akuma. Everything about it is good except some factors. The genjutsu is super solid and is most likely the best one in game. The auto dodge is pretty good to play cooldowns or dodge massive AoE moves. The third move is super trashy. It only deals 44,000 damage while having 4 hand sign and 30-second cooldown. There's nothing to say about the mode. It's same as Riser mode but with a bad Q spec that teleports you behind enemies. The C spec steals mode and chi seals. Coming at 7th spot it's going to be Shinde Akuma. The recent clone buff made this bloodline crazy. The clones can deal up to 80,000 damage and they don't count in the damage counter. The second move, which is Meteor, is super good because it deals 72k damage and has knockback stun, so you can extend off of it. The third move is literal meaning of garbage. Even after the buffs it's super bad. It has trashy range and start up. Shinde Akuma mode is Q spec spam simulator. The Q spec chi seals, mode drains, and deals 66,000 damage and only has 15 seconds cooldown. The C spec is just Satoru C spec with clones. At 8th spot and best Akuma it's going to be Satoru Akuma. All of its move can combo extend. It's a good well-rounded Akuma. The counter is slightly worse version of Ray on counter, but it has a good amount of ragdoll stun. The third move used to be better than Bankai Genjutsu, but for now it's slightly weaker version of Bankai Gen. The mode of Satoru Akuma is super annoying to fight against. It has a Q spec that can deal 80,000 damage and guard break. It has a C spec that can be used to run and spam. This Akuma is easily the first place in the current meta. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This took me a while to make. I would appreciate if you liked and subbed.